Hello, career lifters. I'm Ruth Amani, the founder of AmaningCareerLift, and our mission is simple but powerful to turn aspirations into achievements. This video is part of our growing CV writing and interview tips playlist designed to help you land the job that you deserve. Now, what I need you to start doing is to stay ready so that you don't have to worry about getting ready when opportunity presents itself. In fact, the most successful professionals that I have coached and supported, they all prepared before the opportunity came knocking. And when it did, they were definitely ready for it. And so can you. Today, we are diving into my favorite topic ever, behavioral based interview questions. By the end of this video, you would know why interviewers ask behavioral questions, how to answer them using my proven step-by-step approach, and my personal story toolbox strategy that gets me and my mentees exceptional results every single time. Oh, and stay till the end, because by the end of this video, you would also have learned my secret trick that's makes interview preparation way easier for me. Now, let's get into it. Behavioral questions are when a recruiter wants to assess you against behaviors linked to the job description or to the role that you have applied for. So, behaviors like communication, leadership, problem solving, those are some of the behaviors that you could be assessed against, or even team working. They typically sound like, so in asking behavioral question, the recruiter will probably say something like, give me an example of a time when, or tell me about a time when, or describe a situation where. Basically, they want you to tell a story. And yes, stories are not just for children, they are not just bedtime tales or things that you say. No, no, no. Why? Because by telling a story, it's how the interviewer would be able to assess your behavior against indicators. It will help them to know how you would perform in the future. So, your story should help the interviewer to basically just understand how you think and approach challenges. It helps them to spot the skills you bring to the table, and not just like you saying something but them really spotting it out based on the story you're telling them. It also helps them to visualize what it would be like, what it will feel like working with you in that environment. And honestly, I love behavioral questions, and so should you. I love them because they give us a chance to shine, they give us a chance to showcase ourselves and our experiences. That's one key reason why I love them. Let me show you what I mean. So, if I ask you, how do you manage stakeholder relationship, for example, I'll probably get a generic answer from you, right? But if I asked you, tell me about a time where you gained agreement from a challenging stakeholder, it's a lot more specific. That gives insight. It invites you to tell me a real example. It will involve a lot of context, the tension, the actions, the skills. So you see, that's powerful. That's how powerful behavioral based interview questions are. But hey, if you want to ace behavioral questions, you need to be prepared. And that's where my story toolbox comes in. A story toolbox is simply a place where you store different examples from your work, from your life, things that you have done that demonstrates key skills. So anytime you solve a tough problem, for example, anytime you turn around a difficult stakeholder, anytime you manage a crisis, anytime you do something outside business as usual or your normal day-to-day job. So for example, you influence a change, you mentor a colleague, that's outside your normal business as usual day-to-day activity. Then toolbox it, write it down, save it. Soon you'll be You have so many examples. You have a ready-made list of great examples that anytime an interview comes, you won't feel stuck. And that's where people start going, um, 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 that's because they were not ready. But if you're ready and you have this toolbox strategy and you're actually implementing and using it, you will always have answers in your hand and you'll be ready. I've created a free Storybox prompt list to help you get started and think about things that you could actually document and save in your toolbox. And you will find it in the description below. So go check it out. And yes, my story toolbox can be used across any interview. Trust me, it's a powerful tool. You would see a lot of difference in when you attend interviews in the future. Now, let's talk about how to actually structure your behavioral examples. Today, we'll be using the STAR approach. I love using the STAR approach because it acts as a guide. It helps me to structure my example in a way that is actually very effective and tells the story and flows the way that is relevant and shows the interviewer that you know what you're talking about. STAR approach, what do I mean by that? S stands for situation. Situation, you set the scene. T stands for task. Task simply means what were you responsible for? What was your role? What did you have to do about the situation? A is for actions. What did you do? So, aside from what you were responsible for, A then tells you what you actually did. This is where you spend a lot more time because this is where you bring out your skills. This is where you bring out your behaviors. You spend around 60% of your example in the action section. So more words go into the action section. And arrow, that stands for results. Results basically just means what's the outcome? What was the outcome of the actions that you took? How did it resolve the situation? How did it help the situation? Now, here's an example. Let's say you want to showcase how you resolved conflict and gained cooperation from stakeholders. Here's how you can frame your example. Situation: I was brought in to manage a large scale data migration project, but I quickly realized that the project had been delayed for nearly 1 year due to conflicting priorities, lack of approval, and stakeholder trust was very low. Task: as the project manager, my task was to uncover the root cause of the delay, realign stakeholders, and get the project moving again. Actions: I started meeting stakeholders one to one, actively listening, creating a safe space for honesty where they could easily and openly talk to me. I used open ended questions to give them more time, an opportunity to express themselves. I discovered a major divide as some stakeholders wanted immediate operational reporting, others focused on a 5 year transformational vision. Instead of choosing sides, I facilitated structured engagement sessions where I used simple visuals and relatable analogs to bring both perspectives together. One remarkable analog I used a lot of the time was, it's like renovating a house while living in it. So both comforts, which in my instance is the operational requirements here, and the long-term vision, which is the more transformational vision here, they both matters and they both were required for renovating that house. To build buy-in, I use tools like interactive project roadmaps and real-time feedbacks to boost transparency. A key breakthrough for me came when I proposed the twin track delivery model, which allowed the team to meet both the current operational needs while also building foundations for long term transformation. That helped me to secure early buy-in from key influencers. It helped me to spread confidence also across the wider organization, because by gaining their leadership support, they were then able to influence on a more lower level. Results: I successfully unlocked senior level approval after a year of continuous delay. I also built trust across departments. The project successfully restarted with clear alignment, and there was cultural shift towards collaborative delivery. Now, you might say, wow, Ruth, that's really structured. Well, the one thing I want you to get out of this storytelling that I have just done is it hits multiple high value behaviors. Behaviors like communication, leadership, stakeholder influence, strategic thinking, conflict resolution, even decision making. If you can work with a story as powerful like this from your story toolbox and tell it using the STAR approach that we've just discussed, you will not only answer the questions during your interview, you would also leave a lasting impression on that recruiter. Now, here's my bonus secret tip. Once you have one story in your toolbox, you'll be amazed how many questions one story can actually answer. Take, for example, the story I've just shared with you. I can use that for prompts like, tell me about a time where you resolved a conflict, because that's exactly what I did. Or describe a situation where you influenced senior stakeholders. Again, I can use that example. Or give me an example of a complex project you managed. You see, that's a complex project because I had multiple stakeholders with different priority levels, and then it resulted in conflicts. Or even tell me about a time where you had to communicate difficult information. Or tell me about a time where you faced resistance to change. You see, I can use that one single story to answer many questions. So, one story, many answers. And you see, gradually, if you have stories in your toolbox, gradually you're becoming a pro in your interviews and you're having answers to every questions that you're being asked. But hey, do not wait until you get an interview before you start building out your story toolbox. The best time to build out your examples is now, while the experience are fresh, while the experience is still fresh in your mind. Not next week, not later. Actually, I start building out my toolbox before I get to the result. So when something out of the usual happens, I start creating it, and then I start filling up the gaps, adding the actions as I am progressing. I start putting in the actions I'm taking so that I don't forget. And eventually I get to the result and oh, this is the outcome. And I add it up, I add it in there. Interviews are not the time to wing it. They are the time for you to show up confident and prepared. And that confidence comes from daily practice, not late minute scrambling, not late minute thinking, late minutes trying to figure out examples. So start building your toolbox from today. And the sooner you do, the sooner you will become a pro. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, to subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you never miss a career lift tip from us. And then it could help you and prepare you to land that big opportunity that's coming your way. And if you're ready to build your own story toolbox, check the link in the description for free prompt lifts, like I mentioned previously, that can help you get started from today. Remember, your story is your superpower. Use it well and you will go far. I'll see you in my next video.